What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandel. I'm coming to you live today from Miami. I'm at Scott Clary's studio. Yes, you heard that right. The Scott Clary podcaster extraordinaire. What a treat it is, because today we're going to unravel the mystery of what we all refer to as podcasting, because I understand as little as you do. And I'm just so psyched because we had a lot of mayhem today. There's a lot of backstory today, but Scott came through. Thank you for having us, Scott.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for doing the interview. I thought I was going to be interviewing you sitting in that chair. Eventually.
Well, you will
Eventually, you have a very good story. But I'm happy to be on your show, man. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. I'm happy to share that with you too. You don't happen to know John McGuire, do you? From Toronto, the money guy. He's a podcaster now.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, he's my friend from Canada.
He's coming in. You think we know everybody?
Yeah, exactly. That's how crazy, right? It's like a little city. It's so funny. So, I know you're Canadian by birth.
Yeah.
Toronto, Ottawa. You went to school for like law enforcement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pre-law stuff, legal stuff. You get out of university. You're still in Canada.
Yeah.
You love playing hockey, right? Growing up. You're an athlete, former bodybuilder. I mean, look at this guy's a stud. 6'2", 230. I
used to be bigger too.
I believe that.
I used to be bigger. But then I realized that after a while, if you're really into working out and bodybuilding, you kind of slow down when you realize you want to live a long life. So you don't have to walk around at 260, 270 your whole life. It's not.
People don't understand what it takes to bodybuild, especially with the food part.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh my God. It's a full-time job, boys. The sleep, the rest, the sets, the training, the warm-up,
the Well, you interviewed the guy who runs Olympia.
Yes.
So you know all about this.
Yes, I do. I used to bodybuild when I was young, and I'm a big fan. Dan Solomon runs Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And I've had Steve Kuklo in my studio.
Yeah.
Stevie's a big
New
monster.
York.
Well, no, he's in Dallas, actually.
Oh, he's Dallas. Okay.
But he was number, I think, 5 or 6 in the world.
He's a big guy.
Won the Arnold a few times, yeah.
Huge
guy.
When you see a pro bodybuilder in real life, it's like mind-boggling how big they are. Like, I don't think people understand it.
They don't get it.
Because you'll see them on TV if you ever, watch the Olympia. But when you see them in real life, it's like, how is this person a real person?
You know what it is? I think you're so lean.
Yeah.
And there's the illusion of bodybuilding. A lot of it is illusory. But Stevie happens to be 6 feet, 300 pounds, with like 4% body fat.
Yeah.
I actually made him take his shirt off in my studio. And he's like, oh, I'm fat, I'm out of shape. And I like beat it out of him. He goes, I would only do this for you. And when he takes his shirt off, it's like seeing the Incredible Hulk for real life.
Yeah.
He's a giant. And it's beautiful. And he's so embarrassed that he's out of shape. And you can't see where you could peck 1 inch of fat off this guy.
But in his mind.
Yeah.
Listen, these guys are pros and competitive. But I think that a lot of bodybuilders have body dysmorphia.
I get it.
And I think that also, listen, you talk to any pro, they also say that you shouldn't be jumping on a whole bunch of gear if you're not going to take it seriously, because that's just going to shorten your life. So the body, and I think I'm a little bit concerned because I think social media does a lot of bad. But one thing it does, forget the social media space that I play in now with business and entrepreneurship, where, Instagram is showing these overnight successes and these people driving these rented Lambos and all the other bullshit that comes with social media.
Yeah.
Social media is also toxic for body image. And I see kids taking gear, steroids, younger and younger and younger, because now they think that, well, my favorite TikTok bodybuilder does
Correct.
it. So why would I not start at 13, 14, 15, which is just a mess. It's an absolute mess. I'm actually happy that I didn't really grow up with much social media.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not that old, but it was like, I was growing up while Facebook was starting. I didn't grow up with TikTok, and I think that it's toxic. I don't think we understand the repercussions.
I think you're right, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this particular generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first real generation experiencing this, and I'm scared for them. I think they got a lot of problems. A lot of these kids are growing up with the fantasy of social media.
Yeah.
A lot of fantasy. And then you have things like the Pornhub and the OnlyFans,
Mm-hmm.
and they say pornography is killing men, killing
relationships. And then you also have super easy access to porn. You have body dysmorphia. You have illusion of what success looks like and how
Correct.
easy it is to achieve. And then also this whole generation, I'm not even old and I sound like an old fuck just because I'm the way I'm speaking, but I'm
Right.
serious. You have this instant gratification. Anything you want, you can get immediately. And I think that I interview people for a living. This is what I do now. And the one thing that is a common thread between every single person I interview, and I'm going to hear the same thing from you, is you got to find a way to stay in the game long enough and stick it out long enough till the point when you can actually become successful. It doesn't really matter what you do, but if you find a way to stay in the game long enough, you'll find a way to become successful at it. That is the exact opposite thought of somebody who's young and growing up.
I get it.
Because they get food delivered immediately, they get Amazon immediately, they get movies without driving to the Blockbuster on a Friday night.
Everything's instant.
And everything's instant.
Instant. I'm uptight when I have to wait 7 minutes for an Uber.
I know.
Right.
On the way to the, before this, we were trying to figure out another studio, and that's how we ended up here. And I ended up driving, and I was pissed off because I was going to take an Uber, and the Uber was a 14-minute wait. And I'm like, no way should an Uber ever be a 14-minute wait. What are you talking about?
It's an outrage.
It's an outrage. How warped are our minds?
It's so, and imagine, you're right. When you grow up like that, you expect it. I want to dial it back a little bit because you're so knowledgeable. It's our first time meeting today, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I purposely didn't. I was prodded to do a lot of homework on you, but I have found that the more homework I do on somebody, the less interesting I find them. I love when things are revealed to me as we go along. And they said, listen, this guy is a serious podcaster. You got to talk about his podcast. You're going to learn something.
I hope.
Yeah. And I was like, my team books, I'm booked to like middle of June right now. And it's sometimes still in April.
By the way, I like your show a lot.
Thank you very much. And they have yet to speak about a podcaster the way they spoke about you. I want you to know that.
I appreciate that.
So you're really being held in very, very high regard.
So it's all downhill from here then.
Well, I guess so. It's all, when you have that high expectation coming in, bro, you gotta, this is big coin to live up to. But they really are impressed with your whatever you've done so far. So I want to unravel that for the audience because I'm still not sure what we're doing in podcasting and all that. I have my particular view, but I want yours.
But can I say something?
Of course.
I think that I was watching your podcast. I was watching some of the ones where you were interviewed, but I was watching you interview people. And I think that what you do naturally is you're just a naturally curious person. And that's half of it with podcasting. What fucks people up about podcasting is when they go in with a set of questions and they stick to the questions like a robot.
Right.
And what I think I do well now, this didn't come intuitively since day one, but what I do now is I'll still prep and also have a whole bunch of points. But I would say some of my shows go long, like 2-3 hours. Not all of them. But
I do a lot of that.
But I probably ask one question off that list and then I just follow what that person cares about. And I listen to what they're passionate about. And then I triple down on that idea. And then all the other stuff that I've prepped, throw it out the window. Because you actually if you care about the person and you're curious about what they've experienced or what they've lived through or what they were thinking about 30 minutes before they showed up in the studio, that's the best interview.
I get it. I'm a conversational guy. I'm naturally curious.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to love people, which is why I really enjoy this so much.
Good.
I just love people. I find people so interesting in it. I'm not talking about the big shots. I find the little shots very important. They're not people that you would think are nobodies.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story. And your ability to communicate that story, I think, is the factor in what makes, it interesting or not.
It also makes you successful or not.
Yes.
Because if you can tell a good story.
Correct. And it's communication is everything. And a lot of people, and you probably know this you're a professional at this, sometimes it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
You got a guy, you ask him this big question, and he answers in one or two words, and then he sits there smug, and you're like, bro, come on.
Expand.
Yeah, but
give us a little
you have to just handle it, and to get somebody talking has been something that I enjoy that. I enjoy the pull and take,
but if you tap into what they care about,
correct,
that's when
they open up. All of a sudden, sometimes they just open up, and then you can't get them to shut up.
Yeah, that's true too.
So now you study in university, the law enforcement. You have a history. Your family's got involvement in that
Yeah.
world, but you're in University of Ottawa,
Yeah.
and then tell us what happens. You're about 20, 21 years old. You leave
So
university.
I made the decision that I was going to try and work in tech because I found it exciting and interesting. And if that didn't work out, then I'd go back to law school.
Okay,
So
that's
was
a good plan,
it was like whatever.
right? Good
I
plan.
like it.
I like
And it was
it.
because I always was a very hard worker. So I was the guy in university, which is what we call college in Canada.
Yep.
I was the guy who would be working 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, then taking evening classes and weekend classes. I was obsessed with work. I was just obsessed with work and making money. And
I love it.
figured if
Me
I
too.
just, we're cut from the
Yeah,
same
I
cloth.
love
I'm like, there, I don't need to be like, listen, there was a point in my life where I definitely like to party and drink, but I was over that pretty quickly. It was like high school was easy for me. High school was almost too easy for me. I didn't really have to try, and I just
You're a
killed
good
it.
student.
Very
Right.
much, but without trying. And then the first year and a half, 2 years of university, it was all party. And then I realized that it actually wasn't easy in university. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of partying. And I'm like, if I'm not partying, then I want to move my life forward. Let me just work nonstop, get whatever experience I can, make whatever money I can. And then I know that's going to compound over time. And I just threw myself into work as much as possible. And I was working for a telecom company in Canada during university.
Which one?
Bell, which is like the AT&T Verizon,
Right.
massive.
I have
massive.
a friend that owns a big telecom, and he owns
Which
the Toronto
one?
Blue Jays.
Like Ted Rogers.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right
Well,
now.
it's like
He was
Rogers.
CEO. Yeah, it's Rogers. He's CEO
Yeah.
of the Toronto Blue Jays now.
I don't know. It's
He
probably
is. He's like a dark skinned guy, like
I don't know. I don't
Indian,
know.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's only really like there's 3 in
It's
Canada.
Rogers Communications.
Rogers,
Yeah.
So Ted Rogers, I think, I don't know when he stepped away from it, but that was like what he found. Now there's probably CEO who runs it. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's not him anymore.
no.
It's a huge multi-billion-dollar.
Yeah, it's like an Indian family now that runs it.
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah. And he owns he's the CEO of the Toronto Blue Jays. I was
So
in
he's
his
doing
box
well.
with him. I was
He's
in,
doing very well for himself.
he's, I called him not too long ago. He was on his private jet.
Okay, so he's doing okay.
He says, "Why are you calling me this time?" It was a funny story, but
Anyway, that's where I started my career.
Okay.
It was that's like telecom tech.
I see
whatever.
you're very handy with tech. Like you're very comfortable around it.
Very.
I'm overwhelmed by tech, so I'm anti-tech, but it's good because you grew up with this stuff.
Yeah, but my competitive advantage in life was because like there are 4 kinds of leverage in life, right? You have tech, you have money, you have people, and then you have media. Do you know who Naval Ravikant is? He's like a big tweet guy. He's like a modern day philosopher. He put together this huge thread about 4 kinds of leverage. Anyways, that's going too far in another direction. I found early on that learning and understanding tech was such a career and life hack.
Such an edge.
So I'm not the guy, like, listen, there's people that are nerdier than me. There's people that you'll listen to their story. They say that they were like building computers in their parents' basement.
I know guys
when
like
they were
that.
5 years old. I was good. I wasn't that good, but I was like, I know that there's money in tech. I get it. I want to find a way to navigate this, and I want to find a way to learn the stuff that at the time I was selling. I'm selling tech. I'm selling phones. I'm selling IT. And I started selling to consumers, and I moved into small business, mid-size, enterprise. And I kept understanding, like, if I'm going to do well, I have to understand tech very well. And this served me later on in my career when I was, building out this podcast. There isn't a thing that is there's no marketing thing that I can't do. I can code a website. I can figure out how to set. I can do all of it. I can do audio, video editing. I've always learned that, listen, there's definitely somebody better than me at anything that I've done. But if I can learn it, even like a rudimentary baseline level,
competency, if you're competent,
a basic competency,
Right.
then that's going to serve me very well. And it'll allow me to hire people. And I can call bullshit as to whether or not they're going to be good hires.
Right.
Because I understand the basics.
Right.
So yeah, just like diving into the weeds on stuff has always been something that's been an idea that I think has served me really well.
I see you're a hands-on type guy.
Yeah.
You're hands-on.
Yeah.
I mean, see, I have fear of tech because I grew up
For the
without it.
podcast, I had to figure out cameras, aperture, lighting, lens.
I don't know none of these things.
I didn't.
That's why God created Nelson. That's how I view my world right now. But that's very, very funny.
That's where my career started in tech.
I love it. You know, you're a very impressive young man.
I appreciate you.
And we decided you're 34 years old. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
All
That's
right.
an accurate.
And you're happily married, no
Mhm.
children, house in Miami, and you just closed on a beautiful place in Dubai.
Yeah.
I mean, what a guy you are. The world is yours, bro.
I know.
34 years old, man.
I know.
I mean, you're a beautiful looking man. I'm sitting here. I want the world to know.
I
If they've only
appreciate it.
seen you online, I've had a chance to experience a few things with you already today.
I just jump into, you're very kind. I found that, you know, all the crazy shit that I've done, start the podcast, move from, it's not even that crazy for me, but for some people, these are like massive life
Are
decisions.
you kidding? I
Whatever.
mean, your life is like,
But you know what I mean? Like for you, it's
I
like
get
whatever.
it. I get it.
But for me,
get
it's a nothing. But for my parents, my life is weird.
They're probably having a heart attack every time you call
100%.
them saying, what happened to this
100%.
one? What
They
happened
don't
to the law?
understand what I'm doing for a living. My
Oh.
dad, God bless my
He's
dad.
probably in a panic.
So my dad, right now for a living, I create podcasts and I create media and I interview cool people like yourself and
promote them, market them.
But it's so funny because my dad, he's a very, he worked for the government his whole career. And most of the things I've done in my life, it's like, he just asks why. Why do you do this? Why do you switch countries? Why do you not work for somebody, try to build your own thing? Like they get it, they support it. But every time he sees me on YouTube, like in his mind, YouTube is for other people. YouTube is like, he watches his car shows on YouTube. He loves cars.
Right.
He loves cars. He'll watch car shows on YouTube all day. And he's like, it's so funny. I see your face pop up on my fucking YouTube.
That's very cool though.
It's very cool. But I mean, it's just, I just jump into things that I've always found jumping into things that I didn't grow up with or that I wasn't really comfortable with. If I jump into it, it's always been a net positive on the other side of figuring it out.
My take on you is you're not so much a just jump into a type of a guy. That's how you see it.
Yeah.
I see you as a thoughtful young man.
I appreciate
You're
it.
thoughtful. You think you're jumping in because
Bro,
it's so against
buying
where
a
you come
condo
from.
in Dubai,
Right.
compared to where I came from,
Right.
is fucking insane.
I get that. But let me ask you a question. Are you underwater?
I'm very good.
Did it turn out to be like a mistake?
No,
Was it
it was exceptional.
really? Why? Why do you think?
Because I
You
put
were
a
able
lot
to
of care.
identify value
Yeah.
before the rest of the world, essentially.
Yeah.
And the market value is almost doubled.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that strike you as someone that's, compulsive or someone that's thoughtful?
No, thoughtful. But it's easy.
But
It's
not chicken,
no,
not a coward.
Yeah.
Thoughtful and willing to take action. And that's why I respect you from listening to you for the
but
last
that's
hour.
the opportunity. Now, the scary thing about that is that opportunity, the opportunity to invest or to make money or to start a business, if you just approach it with compulsion, that's where you lose.
Of course.
And I've lost a lot.
You
And
have
that's
to
now
lose.
why I win.
You have to lose. If you don't,
Yeah.
if you show me a guy that never lost, I'll show you a guy that never won anything meaningful.
Or a liar.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to compete, and
Yeah.
and getting hit on the chin is part of life.
That's why I think that like you got to take those risks early on so that you can fuck up
That's
when
what
there's
they
no
say.
stakes.
Right. That's
Right.
what they say. I did my life backwards that way, but that's okay. I had a bucket list life. If I would have just dropped dead at 48, like I thought I was, like my father did, I would have been a
Yeah.
national hero. But here's my question. So how do you go? You're working for Bell.
Yeah.
You're in that business, and keep taking us forward. I like to
Okay.
understand the timeline so everybody
So-
can understand you're just a person, you're a guy,
Yeah.
and you're telling an honest story
Yeah.
about
So I'll
how-
tell you, so there was sort of two more transition points in my life. Left Bell
Okay.
for a smaller telecom
in Canada still.
in Canada that was acquired by private equity. So I saw that transaction happen.
Interesting.
And that was my first light bulb.
Like a realization. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
After that, I was dead set on being an entrepreneur, and I've tried so many things that have not worked. And the first version of entrepreneurship was consulting. And being a consultant, I hated it. Did a lot, but landed at one company that was a broadcast software company.
Okay.
Joined the co-founding team. It was an older company, but joined the co-founding team as chief revenue officer and led that company through an exit.
Nice.
That's when I started the podcast, because I was thinking, first of all, the reason why I even joined that company at any point was because I saw the first transaction take place, and I understood the concept of ownership and equity and exit and all of this.
That's my whole life story right
Yeah,
there.
I know it is. I know, but I didn't come from any of this. I didn't come
understand.
from any of this world
I
at
didn't
all.
either.
Yeah, yeah.
I just sort of stepped into it when I was stoned, and I kept with it.
And I've always been somebody to, it's funny you say that I'm thoughtful. I'm very thoughtful, and I have a high level of self-preservation. So even when we were building the company that was eventually acquired, I started the podcast while we were building that company because I knew that eventually we were going to be acquired, because the acquiring company was a big broadcast hardware company called Grass Valley.
Okay.
Um,
You're still in Canada.
Still in Canada.
Okay. And you started the podcasting in Canada.
Yeah, in
Interesting. So I never would have known that.
Yeah.
How many
And,
people know that about Scott Clary? Not too many people.
I don't know.
You'd be
I don't
shocked.
But
right.
I saw that the company was going to acquire us because they were doing due diligence about a year before they actually pulled the trigger.
Right. So you're on the inside, like,
Of course. So I'm like, okay, so this period of my life's going to be over. What's next? And I'm at this point, I'm responsible for marketing and sales and basically everything, all commercial activity.
You're doing everything, and
yeah, of course.
Except you're not going to benefit like everybody.
Exactly.
In a big way.
So I'm like, how do I build a brand around me so whatever I do in the future, I can
have your own exit.
Exactly.
I get it.
I have my own audience. I can take that audience that I build and I can start a new company.
What year was this?
So this was end of COVID. This was when did we move down here? 5 years ago. So 2019, 2020.
So you're only podcasting, let's just say 6 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
They talk about you like you're podcasting for 35 years.
No, not
You know what
35
I'm saying?
years.
But you understand the point?
I'm not Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. So there's if I would look at podcasters, there's kind of like different tranches. So I'd say Joe Rogan, it's about 14-ish years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Ferriss was an OG. There's John Lee Dumas with Entrepreneurs on Fire. That's a big one from a while back. And then there was like the Lewis Howes School of Greatness. There was Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory. I think Chris Williamson came slightly after them, around the 7-8 year mark. He does Modern Wisdom, and you know all these shows, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jocko Willink, Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. I know my competitor. I know my space.
These
But
these
now
are
I started
the founding fathers of
Exactly.
podcasting.
So then
Literally,
I was after these guys.
okay.
And I was the whole. What's wild? Even the people that. So there's about 850 episodes that we've released over the past 6 years.
You have?
Yes.
850.
850.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'll make the top 900.
100%.
Yeah, baby.
But even people that are more tenured, like people will look at me and say, Scott, you've been doing this for a long time. But it's still 6 years. It's like nothing.
Nothing.
It's like a drop in the bucket, right?
Nothing. I was on Wall Street 30 years.
Yeah, I know. So that's what's wild to me. Like people have built such a massive audiences and massive success in such a short period of time.
It's a phenomenon.
It is a phenomenon.
People don't understand.
And also, I think that the way that social media, I mean, people saw it with TikTok, the way the technology evolves. If you are a committed individual, I'm not saying that anything is going to be successful after 6 years, but if you are a committed individual, the barrier to entry to build anything impressive has never been lower. And also, I think that the ability to build something substantial in a very short period of time, that's not going away. You just have to be aware of the new technology or the new platform.
I don't think you can build anything substantial in a short period of time.
Well, I say short.
But I think you can make an impact.
Mm-hmm.
You can really make an impact. To me, the word substantial has a different meaning because I'm older. I've been around longer. My measure of success of time is a little different because of my years. Like for instance, I was just thinking as you're talking.
Yeah.
I was a registered representative, meaning I was a Series 7 licensed 1983. And according to the government, I stayed licensed till 2010. It's not true, but that's the government's version. So that's what they're going to, if you look me up, that's what it's going to say. Even though it's completely untrue, I left the business and sold out in 2008. But for the purposes of their narrative, they have no case against me. If I really resigned in 2008 and took a buyout, which I did, and moved and took the money, it's all real. But they created a whole different narrative for but still, it took 26 years. And I would tell you, right around, I was pretty good from the get-go. Like I was impactful, but not substantial.
So hear me out. So this is what I mean. 7 to 10 years
That's
will accomplish a lot.
That's huge.
20 years will accomplish, 30 years will accomplish even more. But I think that most people even have a hard time even committing a full year or two to anything.
I
So-
think you said something along these lines, but it's something that is wisdom that I've embraced long before you were born, just so you know, is that being successful is about how long you can stay in something and stand the failure. You have to be able to stand the failure. We talk about Nelson. You know, Nelson has been podcasting for a couple years, makes no money out of it, minimal money. And his ability to continue at it, he doesn't understand what he's literally accomplishing financially.
Yeah.
It's about racking up the failures. How long, you know, it's Henry Ford said, the definition of success is being able to move from failure to failure.
I love that quote.
With no loss of, passion.
It's tough, and this brings us back to that first point about how everyone wants instant gratification.
Instantly.
And it's going to fuck up everybody's perception of success. It's going to fuck up everyone's perception of time.
Right.
And keep in mind, like, podcasting is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done and ever built.
Let's get back to this now. So I want to go back to Canada. You decide, you're looking at this exit, you're helping manufacture it. I mean, you're involved in all the sort of intricacies and details of what has to be done at that point in time, and you're understanding the value of an exit, right? Right. So you can't have an exit unless you build. I'm trying to teach it to these boys, but
How else?
But but you're still in Canada.
Yeah.
But now you decide to do something called podcasting.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you? Like, what did you do? What's your first episode? What did you do?
Podcasting for me, first of all, was future-proofing myself, like I mentioned.
Say it again.
Future-proofing myself.
I love that. I never heard that before.
Meaning that if I build the audience, doesn't matter what I do next. It's going to be easier with an audience because it's media leverage that I'm building. It's a community that I'm building, the tribe that I'm building around my content.
Remember the movie? If you build it, they will come.
Exactly.
That
now
baseball
imagine,
movie.
Then you can take that audience, and you can start a business. You can take that audience. Then if you don't want to start a business, you can go join a company, and they're gonna find you more valuable and more hireable because you come with an audience that they can tap into that they don't have access to.
100%.
So for me, I didn't know what the end result was, but in my mind when I started, first of all, I applied sort of the rules that I believe to be true and live by. If I can find a way to stay in the game long enough, then I'll find a way to be successful. And even if I don't know what I'm going to use it for right now, it's going to be useful for me in the future. And
But what gave you the idea to do podcasting? I mean, you must have been
so a couple
watching
things.
some podcasts, right?
So a couple things. I have to give credit to Gina. So Gina's my better half. She's the one who's not here right now. She's in Dubai, but
She's in Dubai.
She's in Dubai right now.
What is she doing in Dubai?
So she's spending time with her family. We just came back.
Okay.
We're closing on the condo.
And your wife has a crazy her heritage and the family, Uzbekistan.
But you don't even know what she does for work.
No, I don't.
You don't know
I'm
what she
afraid
does
now.
for work. No, don't be afraid. It's not. So she built a massive Instagram account. So she has 8.2 million followers.
Legit followers.
Legit. She's been doing this for about 11 years.
Holy moly.
So when we started dating, I saw that they built this whole business around content. And I saw how much money and they've done deals with Netflix and Hulu and Airbnb and
8 million followers with anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody she wants. What's it about, her page?
It's humor. It's comedy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tailored. It's comedy.
Is she a funny girl?
She's very funny.
I didn't
She's
know.
Very funny.
That's good
You'll
for
meet
marriage.
Her. You'll meet her.
I love. I can't wait.
No. That's
so healthy.
It's very healthy. Yeah, she's fucking hilarious. Which is why I guess she was able to do this as a living, right?
Yeah, you have to be.
It's you know what memes are? Like memes?
Yeah.
So it's my therapist says it's like a massive meme page focused on like humor for 25 to 35-year-old women trying to figure out life. That's the content sheet.
I love it.
So I saw what she built, and I'm also a marketer at this point when we started dating. And
You already in the business, like?
Yeah.
How long you married?
So we've been together since right before. So now just coming up on 6 years.
Oh, okay.
It's all around the same time. All this.
What a renaissance period.
Yeah,
in
right.
Your life.
So it was like meet Gina. Company is acquired. start a podcast, move our life down to Miami. It's like it was a very busy.
Don't tell me you met her in Canada.
Yeah, I met her in Canada.
She's Canadian?
Yeah,
Not
she's
Canadian.
She's Canadian.
She's Israeli, Uzbeki, and Canadian.
Yeah.
What a woman.
Yeah.
And she's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? Hopefully she's good looking too.
She is. She's beautiful.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. So you now are.
But the point is, so I'm a marketer doing my job, and I study marketers all day. I study the Gary V's of the world. She has a lot of influence on me as well because we're together. I see what she does for a living.
Of course.
So I'm like, okay, content makes a lot of money. Let me find a way, and it also makes a very loyal audience.
Yeah.
So let me find a way to take what I care about and create content around the things that I'm living every single day.
Then let it go and you find your audience.
And that's where the podcast came from. Because
it.
I could have done anything at that point. I had no social when I started the podcast. I had killed my social accounts. I didn't have personal social. I had an old Instagram when I was into bodybuilding, but that's embarrassing, and I got rid of
I'd like to see that.
Okay. I'm sure I can find it at some point.
We're gonna look. We're gonna take a look.
Put the fucking screens up, right?
Yeah.
Put the pictures. No, so I was like, I'm gonna create content because I want to future-proof myself. I want to build an audience, but I want to create content that I enjoy creating, and I like learning about business, about entrepreneurship, and that's not something that you do in a meme or in like a 30 to 45 second clip.
No.
So that's where podcasting came from. So started it in a second bedroom in our condo in Toronto, and started it via Zoom, sitting down in person. And I'm also,
what does that mean?
Zoom? What do you mean?
Oh, all remote.
Yeah, remote, like
podcast.
remote. Yeah,
guests all came in remote.
Yeah,
okay,
remote.
Got it.
And I'm a sales guy. Sales and marketing has been my career. So I'm cold emailing people. I'm cold emailing people that are way too famous for me at the time because I just started.
Right.
And I got, and I know all the cold email, like, you find the person, I can find their email address. I write the subject line. I write the right copy with the right CTA, get them excited about what I'm doing. And I got Anthony Scaramucci and Guy Kawasaki and Grant Cardone in like the first 15 episodes or something. Like
wow.
very like
serious guys.
Too early on.
Yeah.
Because I was scared shitless.
You didn't know enough to really get the most out of it. Yeah.
But the point, and I've actually
look what you accomplished.
Yeah. So then booked those guys, and I'm like, listen, I know how to book great guests. There's proof right there. I know how to market because I've been doing that my whole career. Let me figure out the audio video editing, download Premiere and learn that stuff myself. Because I could have hired immediately. Now I have a team. Could have hired immediately, but like I said, I like to learn the stuff first. So then if I hire somebody,
you know what you're doing.
I know what I'm doing. I know what they're doing.
You know what they're doing to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I just started recording and posting it everywhere. And long form audio, video podcasts, turning it into clips, turning it into a newsletter, and just rinse and repeat.
I love it. Now let's go back to Gina now. How did you meet her?
I met her in Toronto. I DM'd her on Instagram. I slid into the DM.
You saw her picture?
Yeah. No, I saw her on a dating app.
Dating app. Now we're getting somewhere. Which one? Hinge, Tinder,
I think it was Hinge.
Match?
No. I think it was Hinge. I saw her on Hinge, and
as long as it wasn't her OnlyFans page.
No, OnlyFans didn't exist back then.
All right, I have to ask. Well, 8 million followers. Maybe she's got some
not
secrets.
Those kinds of followers.
All right, maybe I'm a follower. I'm just playing. But this is a great story. So you met her on a dating app.
No, I didn't meet her on a dating app.
You saw her on a dating app.
I saw her on a dating app, and I've told this story before, and I always make fun of her for it. So she's one of the girls on a dating app that only had her Instagram handle in her bio, and what that means is that girl is using the dating app to collect Instagram followers.
Really?
Yes, that's 100% what that means.
It's so smart, bro.
It's very smart.
Very smart.
So
I would never heard of these kind of things.
So I'm like, I'm not waiting for her. I'm not waiting for her to connect with me because I know the game she's playing. So I went to Instagram and I slid into the D. I can't remember what I said, the first line, but
it was clever.
It was clever.
It was cute.
It was cute. Cute enough that she responded back. Yeah.
And she must have seen a bodybuilding picture. So I'll bang that.
No,
guy.
actually, I had killed my Instagram with most of my pictures. And it's actually so funny because she doesn't like dogs. She's not a fan of dogs. I think that's some like
interesting
overseas trauma.
Something happened.
Wherever she grew up,
right.
Dogs are not a thing like they are in the US. And At the time, I don't have that dog anymore. When I moved out of
We
my
had to
parents'
we had to
place,
kill off the dog.
I didn't kill off the
I'm
dog.
I'm playing.
I immediately got a husky and a German Shepherd the second I moved out of my parents' house when I was young because I wanted dogs so badly.
And you picked two of the most scary looking dogs in the
Exactly.
world.
Now, those dogs are with an ex, and the ex took the German Shepherd, and the husky. I was living in a condo in Toronto before I met Gina, and it was not a good environment for the husky because I was working nonstop.
I understand. I get
So
it.
I actually had to give it was very sad. I had to give the husky away to like a family that had like a whole bunch of farmland and acreage.
That's nice.
It was good for him. He was very happy.
Probably had a better life.
He definitely than living in a condo when I'm working 10 hours a day.
Correct.
Huskies are not meant for condos.
No.
Anyway, so the only pictures I had on my Instagram were pictures of me and the dogs, which I thought at the time would like get me girls.
Of course.
100%.
Very good marketing move.
And then
Generally
the
speaking.
one girl that I want, she can't stand
Because
dogs.
they serve dog in Uzbekistan.
And I think in Uzbek, is that true?
Very possible.
I thought it was one of those places where if you meet a dog, like there's a good chance that it's a wild dog and it's going to come after you.
Either or. That's why they eat them.
Yeah, maybe.
You
I don't
know,
know.
I
Either or. She's not a fan of
It
dogs.
tastes like chicken. You know?
You know what I just tried for the first time in Dubai?
Tell me.
Camel.
Camel.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
You know, I had
It tastes like beef.
in Egypt,
Yeah.
I had pigeon.
Pigeon. I've never had pigeon before.
And it was very tasty. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the camel. It was good, but it's kind of just like
didn't even
it's
know
like
they eat
it's like a gamey.
Gamey.
It's very gamey.
Yeah. I get
Like
it.
if venison or anything like
Correct.
that.
I happen to like venison. It's funny. Very low, very lean.
Anyway,
lean
so-
meat. A lot of bodybuilders eat venison.
because it's very lean.
Yeah.
And it's very healthy.
Very chock
it's
full of
not like-
amino acids and all
Well,
that.
the gamey meats are good because they're more expensive because they're not like raised on a farm and pumped full
Right.
of
All the
steroids
nonsense.
and
All the
yeah.
nonsense, yeah.
Yeah, so bodybuilders that eat a lot of meat, they're like, okay, maybe I don't want to be eating a steroided out chicken or cow every
You're taking
single
enough
day.
steroids.
Yeah.
Right.
So let me
I
at least
get
get some clean food through
I love it.
Anyways,
love
so the dogs did not help. However, she thought my personality was good enough to compensate for the dog pictures. And
So
then-
she responded to the DM?
yeah.
And then what happened? You remember?
I mean, we started talking. We
You
hit it
actually said,
off.
can I call you?
No. We were texting back and forth first.
What's
Texting.
with this texting business?
I don't know.
I'm
I
on
don't
this
know.
dating app, and so we say hello on the dating app, and I just give my phone
No,
number.
no, we
And the girls are like, well, they want to text. I'm like, I'm not. They want to interview me
That's
on a
like,
text, and I'm like sitting like this. I said, I can't do it.
I don't know. I don't know why that is. I don't have a good.
My
answer for
generation,
that.
we didn't have
I-
text. We called
100%.
people.
Now it's like invasive if you call somebody.
I call people like, what's wrong?
I know.
Like, what's wrong? What do you mean? Why are you calling me?
Now
gonna
I've
say
come
hi.
full circle because it's just easier to call somebody because you get more shit you
Yeah.
get more shit done.
Exactly.
When you text somebody, like there's so much context lost in a text.
I get it.
And you can say something that is not meant to be interpreted the way that it's interpreted, and all of a sudden it can ruin a whole relationship because it sounds passive aggressive or angry.
It's just
or
I don't. It's just such a. It's
Anyway,
just it's,
so we
it's
started
a cold
talking.
way.
We started. It wasn't like we were texting for like a year. We were texting.
Right.
We were like loving like the vibe and the banter. She's
She's
funny for a living.
but she's attractive.
Yes.
Because if she was funny and ugly,
No.
you would not have DM'd her.
I don't like to think. Yeah, it's
I'm
probably,
sorry.
Yeah,
You're a good-looking man. It's not like you're
It's probably-
desperate
it's
for a
probably-
date.
No, no, she's funny and attractive.
Yeah, well, I mean that's an amazing. I with 8 million followers.
Yes.
I'm in.
And she's entrepreneurial. She's smart too.
You think?
Yeah.
You think she's smart?
But listen. If you're gonna find somebody to spend the rest of your life with and marry, like you gotta.
I did. Well, I did. I thought I did very well. My choice exactly.
So then
I actually was in the market for looking for not just a companion for me, but a mother for my children. I just
That's what you should be looking for.
right. I didn't get married till I was 41. I had my first daughter at 42, my second at 46, and I looked back and I said, wow, I picked well. Very important.
Very important.
Time tells a lot. Time answers a lot of questions.
Yeah, because why do guys date? They get infatuation with the looks and they don't care about the personality and they don't care about, what are our goals as a couple? What are our financial goals?
Common goals, I was
Yeah.
told by my psychiatrist at the time, is the most important thing. I said, why? He goes, it doesn't matter how intense attraction is in the beginning. Everybody feels that.
Yeah.
Over time, it's going to fade.
Of course. Yeah.
And over time, he goes, the closest of people are going to, at times, drift. But if you have common goals, you're drifting in the same direction.
Hmm.
And it's very easy to reconnect at any time. But if you have different goals, you're going to drift one way, she's going to drift another way.
Yeah.
And then it's a big problem. So it was very important. I, uh, I really was very selective on who I was with.
I was too.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
get
was
it.
too.
Listen, I mean, this is what now, about 6 years old?
Yeah.
Podcast about 6 years old.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm new to this whole thing. I'm only doing this about 6 months. And
Can I tell you something though?
yeah, please.
If you've done more than 10 episodes, you're already in the top 1% of podcasters.
Right.
Isn't that funny?
So I've done like 50 or 60 already, I think, right?
That's
Nelson?
not that new.
Is that right? But in 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, between I've been on.
You're cranking them out, but that's a lot in 5
doing
months.
3, 4 a week almost now.
Good for you.
Yeah. When he's telling me to slow down, it's.
Do you see the growth? Is it working?
I do see it. I'm starting to understand the game.
Yeah.
I'm understanding it, but I was told, and I believe this to be true. There was an anomaly, a once in a lifetime kind of thing that occurred that really helped explode the development of the podcast as an industry, as a thing, etc. And it's been, I believe, world changing. It's part of my evaluation as when I put my stock market hat on. Something called COVID, the lockdowns.
We were locked down almost immediately after we started dating.
Right, from March 20,
Yeah.
the lockdowns came in, and people stayed locked down for almost 2 years, right? A year and a half for
I started
sure.
the podcast.
Right, and so a lot of things happened because people were home. They were tired of listening to the bullshit on television where they could tell everybody was already lying. They were getting angry. They had a lot of time on their hands. And they couldn't go to certain stores, supermarkets. They couldn't go out. They couldn't do things. They were ordering everything from home.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of time to play on their computers, their laptops, their tablets, and their phones. And they found interesting podcasts. And everything blew up. Is that fairly accurate?
Very accurate.
Assessment?
Very accurate. Podcast, if you look at downloads, have dipped post-COVID because not everybody's sitting at home all the time.
No, I can't even imagine. It's not even close.
But yeah, it was a very good time for podcasts.
Yeah,
It's a very good time to start one. It's a very good time to have one. But then I don't want to say that. And
digital sales, online sale. Everybody was sitting home ordering shit because they were bored. They were trapped. I mean, I remember I got out for a brief period for 8 months. The BLP let me out, put me in home confinement. And I said, let me be out. I want to go to the gym. The gyms were closed.
Yeah.
So I said, damn, let me order some dumbbells, right?
You couldn't get them.
8-month wait, 7-month wait, 6
Yeah.
What? To get dumbbell, 25-pound dumbbell.
I would lucked out and I found a home gym that was about 40 years old that somebody was selling on Facebook Marketplace for way too much fucking money. And I'm like, I'm going to go crazy if I don't get something. So I just bought it. And they dropped it off because Canada, part of the reason why we moved down to the US, we could have moved out, like we worked remote even before COVID. So it really wasn't like we had to be in one city. But yeah, Canada was locked down longer than New York and California.
Wow.
We were locked down a very long time and we were just sick of it. And I have to be grateful because Canada has given me and Gina and like us a lot. But for us, we were tired. I mean,
the whole world was tired, bro. The whole world was tired. It was all bullshit. We know that now.
And that's, I think, what prompted our decision to move down to Miami and Florida because we're like, listen, taxes are great, weather's great. By the way, like keep in mind, we were in Toronto during COVID, and cost of living in Toronto, like this is what people don't understand about Canada. And this is not a political podcast, so I'll leave those views aside. I'm not a fan.
I get it. But I don't know who is right now.
Well, he's gone, but his replacement's not much better. But the point is, like, cost of living is expensive, and salaries aren't in line with the cost of living.
The taxation is nuts.
The taxation is higher than any state
in
the U.S.
Nuts.
It's nuts. So then everyone says, well, you get free healthcare, but the healthcare also is like a significant waiting time.
Shite.
Yeah, it's not great. I'd rather be able to pay when I have an emergency.
Correct.
Because I don't want to wait 6 months to go see a specialist. Anyways, so that aside, weather is much nicer. Taxes are lower. We can do business from anywhere. and we moved down.
Now, let me just say, you guys don't play.
No,
The Scott Gina train
no,
goes from Toronto. You don't go to like Charlotte, North Carolina. You don't go anywhere in Middle America. You don't go to Boston.
no.
You come straight to Miami.
If we're gonna do it, we do it right.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
a serious type statement. Your parents must have been freaking up for weeks not
You know, it's
sleeping.
so funny. Yeah, they are.
I
Until we
can't
moved down here.
imagine.
So we moved down here. You know how many times so Ottawa, Toronto, 5-hour drive, about an hour
Oh,
flight,
yeah.
right? So keep in mind, my parents are in Ottawa. We're in Toronto. You know how many times they came to visit us in Toronto versus how many times they come to visit us when we're in Miami?
Tell me.
Maybe once in Toronto. Now like 6 or 7 times.
Oh,
down here.
what a strange. I'm shocked.
Ah!
You know, one thing, if you live in Miami, you're going to have plenty of visitors.
That's why we got the house. We got the guest bedroom.
Right.
Gina's family comes visits. My family comes visits. Like,
When I bought my house in Boca Raton, a lot of people were saying, why Boca Raton? You know, you could live anywhere in the world. I said, well, Stephanie wants to see her family. I said, where's Ami? They live in the Bronx. I said, yeah, but you know, if you're in Boca Raton, the whole Bronx is coming.
100%.
And they
100%.
came
You
and
need
they
the space,
came.
you
I
need
could
the
get rid of
room.
them.
Yeah.
I had to keep buying bigger houses because the family kept moving in.
And listen,
It was unbelievable.
yeah, exactly.
It was, you know.
But yeah, so we did Miami, and it's been great, and especially for like.
Now, what year was that? What year did you come to Miami?
So now we've been in Miami, coming up on 4.5 years. It's so weird to me because COVID screwed with my perception of time completely.
I get it. Imagine if you were in prison for 9 years.
Yeah, COVID is completely. So we were together just over 2 years before we decided to move down here,
Okay.
and then we moved down here. It's been good.
And did you move into this house right away? Or
No, we did a condo first, and then we moved.
You
into
bought a
the house.
condo, you rented one.
Rented.
Okay, smart guy. See, I want everybody to listen to decisions this man makes. Mr. Fly by the seat of his pants is one of the most thoughtful men I met. You're very thoughtful.
real
You're very
estate-
calculating. You're
very.
very intelligent.
Thank you.
Um,
I also don't think that South Florida is a good place to invest in real estate. So keep in mind,
it was the best.
yeah, in like 2009.
Well, how about when I was brought down here in
I
the
know.
80s?
Oh. Yeah, yes.
Steve Ross, the owner of the Related Companies,
Yeah.
used to own a bar restaurant in Soho. It was a chic spot in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the name, but it was called the Green Street Cafe. I think that was the name of the place. Either way, they used to have these wine tasting things on Sunday.
Yeah.
So whenever I had a girl that I really liked, that on one date, maybe I took her to dinner, but I really wanted to impress her, I really wanted to get with her, you know, that kind of thing. So I would ask her for Sunday brunch. And we go down to Steve Ross's place, and they call flights of fancy. You know, taste the wines of the Riesling Valley, the
Yeah.
German wines, or from the French region of Loire, France. And I'd be like, hey, look, they have this wine tasting, and then Steve would come over, you know, the owner of the place, and he would say hello to me because I was a stockbroker, I was very well known, and I was on the come up in a big way, and we were doing a lot of IPOs every week, and
Yeah.
guys were making money, and everybody wanted a piece, this and that. And he'd be like, hey, Ross, you know, we got this specialty on the German wines. Hi, what's your name? Oh, you know, I'll bet you like wine. What a treat I have for you guys today. And I'd be like, that's the owner, you know. This is Steve Ross, the
Yeah, yeah,
$20
I
billion
know.
guy
I
that owns
know.
Related Companies. So eventually, you know, Steve approached me and a bunch of young men like me, flew us all down private. This is in the 80s, like 1985, 86, 87. And took us in a big tour bus, like came and picked us up at the airport, private airport. And we went down to, I guess it's A1A on the ocean,
Mhm.
Ocean Drive, whatever they call it. And we stopped at the very beginning. And there was nothing there
Jeez.
except this gorgeous scenery, this gorgeous beach. I mean, magnificent. And right across where you see all those hotels today, there were burnt out shacks. That's what they're hovels, shacks. And we would walk through it, and there would be crackheads in there, junkies. There were shooting dens, crack galleries. Disgusting.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to walk with my nice shoes that I just bought for this trip. And the state or the city, I'm not sure which one, they were offering, if we would just take one of these properties, they'd give it to us for free, as long as we would sign against some sort of form of credit that we would pay for upkeep and taxes. These properties are worth billions today,
I know.
hundreds and tens of millions. And Steve Ross said, I want to buy this whole friggin' block. Can't you guys see? and we're all looking at the most magnificent ocean. We just came from New York. It was the middle of the winter. It's so nice, and so someone asked the magic question that you never talk about to a Wall Street guy. Steve, he sold us his whole vision, like we were all buying it. So, well, how long do you think all this is going to take? He said, 10, 20 years at the most. But this is going to be worth billions. And we all agreed, but we all took a pass. We're short-term guys.
Yeah.
We want to buy and sell and get paid by next month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we move money. And when we run out of money, we get more money.
Yeah.
And we just move money. We move money. We're short-term thinkers, and he bought all his property up.
Good for him.
That's where Steve Ross made the bulk of his money, his real capital. And I knew him when he was an innkeeper, and I was making 5 times what he was making.
So, I mean, there's always those opportunities. There's always those opportunities.
If you can look out.
Like I have a friend, he had a very big exit. Now he's buying Section 8.
That's a huge thing, Section 8 housing.
Thing.
In what city?
8 housing. I think Louisiana.
Yeah, it could be any city, but yes.
All my friends that are real estate people, none of them invest in Miami anymore.
No, it's dead.
It's Ohio, it's Nevada, it's Louisiana. But you look for these opportunities. Even I tried to figure out an opportunity in Dubai, which is a
you did okay.
Wild concept for that. Yeah, I mean, I wish I did more now because it worked out. Whatever. Even the guy across the street from me, a really funny story. So he's a retired FBI, and he bought this property on a tip from a guy he was investigating. And the guy said, this area, at the time it was shit, garbage.
I get it.
He's like, you should invest here because it's going to do very well. And he bought his house, which is a detached home, not huge, but detached home for $40,000 or something like that.
How funny is that?
Yeah. And next door was like a crack house.
Right.
And he's at the time he was active FBI. He didn't feel comfortable even living in the house that he just bought. Now, fast forward, I mean, this property in particular, this property is relatively small, 1,500 square foot home. It's on the market for $2 million.
Right. I was going to say, it's location.
Yeah.
The thing is that where there's violence is opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a broker on national TV, the Secretary of State came on back in the 90s and said, we were advising American citizens to stay out of Belfast, Northern Ireland. The Christians and the Protestants were at war. People were getting killed. There was violence every day on the news. Stay away. We can't guarantee your safety. We advise you not to travel there. I got on a plane and I flew there. I became the biggest importer of American financial opportunities to everybody in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
No one else is doing it.
The guy that called on the phone just a few minutes ago was my partner from Belfast, Northern Ireland, still to this day.
So you got to find that opportunity.
Where there's violence, there's opportunity. When there's blood on the streets, buy. When it's shiny and nice and pretty, sell. When it looks great, dump it. That's if you can go against your emotions with investing, you'll always win. But you have to go against your emotions.
Yeah.
It's really, really tricky, even when you're aware of it. But let's get back to you now. So you and Gina make the move to Miami.
Yeah.
She is doing her comedy thing.
Yeah.
She makes a living at that, right?
Yeah.
Good living?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, real money. 7 figures? Or
yes.
High 6 figures?
Low 7.
Low 7s. Yeah. Okay, it's a real nut. Those real money, especially she's her own boss, pulls her own shots, right?
Exactly.
I mean, she...
Very, very profitable business because you don't need a lot of...
Right, there's not a lot of overhead, infrastructure, all that stuff. The cost of capital getting into the game is nothing.
Zero.
And then you start your podcast.
Yeah, well, I had it. But then then that's what I focus on.
You're developing it now. And at what point does it become a source of income for you where you're actually able to live on that kind of money?
Well,
I know you had some money saved and all that stuff.
I didn't have to worry too much about money immediately. So
did it take a year, 2 years, 5 years?
2 years. 2 years before I started making like 6 figures.
Okay. And how do you make your money from podcasting?
Ads, all ads. I don't have a product or a service.
What does that mean?
Means that somebody sponsors this episode. They pay $40 for every 1,000 downloads that this episode gets.
And who determines all these things?
Well, you determine based on how good you can sell.
Okay.
You have your downloads, and you have a
Now, we're talking to an audience that doesn't understand, so I want you to
So think
break
about
down.
so think
What do
about
downloads mean?
downloads mean how many people listen to an episode of your podcast.
Okay, and that's all. It's all analyzed, and these metrics are they're given to you, right, by YouTube and Spotify.
By YouTube, by Spotify, by Apple, and
They're
then
happy to provide them.
you get them.
You get them,
yeah, and then
because it's good for them.
Exactly, and you're taking that, and you probably put together some sort of media kit.
Okay.
That shows all of your numbers and your demographics, and then you go sell.
Who do you sell it to?
You sell to Indeed or LinkedIn or NetSuite or HubSpot or Athletic Greens or Manscaped or
Now, you were in the marketing business, so you know these things,
Yeah.
right? You didn't have to do too much research, right? You sort of
No.
knew it,
and
right?
you look and there's technology that helps you, right? When I was selling enterprise software, there's always technology that helps you.
Sure.
So with podcasting, there's tools like Magellan is one where if you pay for this particular technology, you can see all the brands and which podcasts they're advertising on. And then you go find those brands, and then you go find the decision maker within those brands. And then you start running campaigns, you start reaching out to them, and you start saying, hey, I have a podcast. These are our numbers. This is our cost per 1,000 download, called CPM, cost per mil, cost per thousand.
Right.
And that's how and this is one way to monetize.
Rob, I wanted so you can go to these different outlets, let's say.
And you can also use
And pitch them.
You can also use agencies. You can also
Okay.
use agencies. So you can use AdvertiseCast or Gumball or any of these agencies that will take 30 points, 30%.
Okay.
And they'll go sell your podcast.
You didn't need that, though.
I did use them at
Oh,
the
okay.
beginning.
At the
I did
beginning.
use them at the beginning.
You wanted to learn the game a little
Of
bit,
course,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at what point? Now, what's the name of your podcast?
Success Story.
Success Story by Scott Clary.
You got it, yeah.
Okay, so if we want to find you on, let's say, YouTube, Scott.
That's it. You type Success Story Scott Clary, you're going to find it everywhere.
Okay, now if I did that today, how many subscribers would it say you have?
On YouTube, 326,000.
That's a big number. Now,
Good
what about
number.
something like Spotify?
I don't think it shows how many subscribers
Right.
that I have on Spotify.
But it does give you a lot of analytics, correct?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
between YouTube and Spotify, we do about 700, 800,000 downloads a month.
A month.
Yeah.
And how many podcasts do you release every month? Roughly.
We try and do 3 episodes a week if we nail it.
3 a week.
Yeah. Now, sometimes.
Big stuff there. You know, I just woke him up. Hold on. I'm sorry, bro.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
We don't hit the cadence that we want to hit.
Of course, I get it. I'm just playing, but I just want to. I want the audience to understand. People ask me these questions, and I can't answer them because I just started. What do I know? Well,
Yeah, but
I'm building right now.
You have to give context too. So I mean, I have a full team and I have a machine behind it
now.
But
we're going back in time.
going back in time, I was doing 1 episode a week because that's
Okay.
what I had capacity to do.
And you were building up your subscriber base
Yes.
weekly, monthly. It took you
Yes.
2 years to get to a point
Where you
where
can
you.
monetize it,
Right.
make some good money off of
Right.
it,
And then YouTube sends you money too. Google sends you money.
yeah. You can monetize through. That's all through ads. Whether or not it's you go and sell. When you go and sell an ad slot on a podcast, if you are good at sales and you can speak to the decision maker, you can usually command a higher rate.
Okay.
Right? You can pitch, and it's a sales
Right, right.
process. If you're just using YouTube, you can, but you won't make as much money. Now you can also monetize other ways, and I did not right away.
Like what? Let the audience know.
You can have a product, you can do coaching, you can have a service,
Brand merchandising.
Yeah,
Some
you can-
mentorship.
mentorship. You can host events and use the podcast to lead people to the events. You can.
You don't do any of those things.
So this is so over the past,
Yet is a big word. Yet.
and the reason why, and this is something that I'm aware of my own shortcomings. It's easy to say, don't succumb to shiny object syndrome, but it's very hard.
I get it.
So when you start to build a little bit of an audience,
Yes.
opportunities start to come.
Yeah. Can you pitch this? I'll give you that.
Yeah.
If you do this,
I want to build a business with you. I want
Yeah.
you to do. So it's been a lot of starting new things that I eventually kill because they don't work out. Wrong idea, wrong partner, wrong anything.
I get it.
And now I'm very thoughtful about if I'm going to start a business, it's going to be tied directly into the podcast, because why else am I building this thing? Why else am I building a podcast if it doesn't support the business? Because I've been building businesses that have not been tied into the podcast. Meaning,
Mistake. I get it.
yeah, you get it. So I tried to do a supplement company. How does that, like the
Mistake.
entrepreneur podcast does not support a supplement company. So I drifted away from my first, reason
I
why I
get
even
it,
started.
but I get it's a shiny object.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Anyway,
understand 100%. It's very fascinating.
so now you got to make sure all the shit that you're building is aligned because it just makes it easier.
I think you'd be a great mentor,
I hope so.
mentorship
With what I've
coaching. You don't
learned.
do that?
I don't, because I think there's a lot of garbage on the internet.
A lot of, but I think you will. I think some point you will because you seem like you'd be an excellent educator. I
I
really
enjoy
mean
it.
that. Yeah,
My
it comes
first
naturally to
my
you.
first job ever when I was very young was coaching tennis.
Wow,
Very, very young. I was like 14. Because
wow.
I had gone to a tennis camp since I was 5 years old. Loved tennis. Loved coaching it. I think that's also the reason why I do the podcast. Like, I like seeing someone's transformation.
I love it.
I like saying, okay, you're here when I first met you, and then fast forward 6 months or a year, your life has radically shifted and changed for the better. Hopefully because of something that I've said to you or taught you. Or I love that. It's very fucking fulfilling.
I'll tell you this on a personal note to me. So my ex-wife was staying with me, and we started the podcasting. And before I did anything else, I was on this podcast with Brad Lee called
I
Dropping
know,
Bombs.
yeah.
Right. And Brad put it up, and two young men listened to the podcast, reached out through an email address we had posted on our website, and said we want to sign up for the mentorship program. We didn't have a mentorship program. Nelson's trying to tell me it's called Mastermind. You have a mastermind. I don't even know what that. I never. To me, a mastermind was the Penguin from the Batman movies.
Yeah,
He was a criminal
now they're
mastermind.
popular. Now they're very popular.
Yeah, right. The word mastermind, though, to me
Yeah.
was always had a negative connotation, like the criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
But I said, "What's mastermind?" They said, mentorship. You talk to these guys. They want your time,
Yeah.
and you'll give them personal time. And they so like we didn't have a program, but these guys wanted to sign up. They're asking how much. So just tell them $5,000, because I got like 400 emails when Brad
you did
launched
that,
this thing.
Yeah.
Without us being ready for anything. We didn't realize the power of this whole thing. And it was the most crazy thing. And so I said, just give $5,000, because I can't just talk to everybody. There's so many
Yeah.
people reaching out. There's got to be some sort of way to separate the wheat from the chaff, if
Yeah.
you will, if you allow me that. And so I said, just charge $5,000. They give them 10 hours, and 10 hours, $5,000. That's not enough. You're Ross Mandel. It's not enough. I said, bro, we're just getting started. Let's see what it is, And we did these first two guys, and Stephanie is. We're married for 23 years. We have two beautiful daughters. We're best friends. She's my booking agent, all these things. She would sit and listen. And she said, you know what? You were meant to do this. You have just changed this man's life.
Mm.
Do you understand what you've done? And I'm like, I'm just being me. Like, I don't have some sort of yet formal procedure to understand. And we just Google Meet everything, and everything's filmed, and they have access to that forever. They get their copies. But I started to feel, because now by the fourth, fifth, sixth one, I started to realize that I am literally changing their lives.
Mm.
And most of the time, it had not so much to do with me. It has to do with them. Like, if someone's really ready to grow, to change, to evolve, to level up, they realize that. You're just a catalyst.
Yeah.
One guy, Tristan, I'm going to blow your cover. Tristan Cooper, he texted me this morning. He got on. So what I don't know anything about these young men. So I said, I got to interview them. How can I help you if I don't know anything about you, right? I got to grill you, which I'm used to doing for the stock market, because it's called qualifying. If you're not qualified, I don't talk to you. Bottom line. And so this guy you ever see the show Duck Dynasty?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's got facial hair out to here, all the way down to his waist, a giant mop of hair, almost looks like he's wearing a wig. He's sitting like in a rocking chair. And I'm trying to talk to this guy to get to, why'd you spend $5,000 for my help? And I ask him a question, he gives me one word answers. It's like pulling teeth. I feel like I'm trying to get somewhere. And then we get off the phone. It's 1 hour. We make it a point to meet the next week. And I said to my team, I said, we might have to send this guy his money back. They said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not sure I can help this guy. He's a little out of it, right? And they're like, well, I'm looking at him for an hour. He's under the hair. You could barely see the guy. He said, nice enough, man, but he's, the whole thing is very foreign to me. And then, so 1 week later comes by, and I'm determined to see if I can get through to him. And he clicks on the Google Meet. The guy on camera has a crew cut. He's completely clean shaven, not even a goatee or a scraggle, nothing. He's in his truck. He's on his way to some job site. He's like, bro, you changed my life.
Get the fuck out. It's awesome.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Really? I was like, duh. Like, So what's going on? Wow, the fuck are you? Where's the other guy?
Yeah.
And he was just, itching to make a change in his life. He was something, it was all in between his ears in his life.
And then he needed
and he just, needed to have someone to check in with, to say it's okay, and I'm going to help you, and we're going to guide you, I'm going to walk you through. And he just evolved, and now we're close friends. And he's just like, he's signed 2 multi-million-dollar jobs. He's a contractor.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's amazing a profound effect you can have just by being in somebody's life as a guide, as a man, there's a word in Hebrew, rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
It just means teacher. When I first went out on Wall Street in 1983, I said, give me some advice. Can you tell me anything? And they said, yeah, look around, find a rabbi. I'm thinking he's a religious guy, No, you idiot. A rabbi's a teacher. Someone that's just been doing this for years, that'll let you talk to him and ask questions and help you avoid pitfalls. So I think you'd be excellent.
I appreciate you.
Excellent.
And I think that I try and do that to some degree with the show.
Yes.
But yes,
it evolves from the show.
Yeah, it does.
You'll find your target market, I believe, guys that will gravitate towards you on social media, on YouTube, etc. And then something about your approach, your persona, your patience, the way you express yourself, your demeanor, will attract them enough that say, you know what, I'm going to let him in my life.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
I honestly believe you could be life-changing for so many people, bro. Maybe a coaching program, that sort of a thing, because you got whatever it is, you got it. Whatever it is,
I appreciate
you got it. I'm going to share that with you. And so I have learned a good deal about you today. I hope the audience has as well.
This is fun.
You're a podcaster extraordinaire. You sell advertising. I'm so impressed that, and the way you put it, it's so, these shiny objects are so attractive.
You got to be careful.
It's so easy to just digress. But once you have your head in the right place and you become more thoughtful, then you know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's been a privilege. And I understand why my team said that we got to talk about podcasting, because you were able to break it down today in such a way that I've never heard. I want you to know that. And so now I have a greater understanding, and I really appreciate your time, your hospitality, your beautiful home.
You can come anytime.
Don't say that, because Nelson and I are thinking if we can get 2 beds in here.
I got beds in the house.
Well, I don't know. As long as Gina's out of town, we're cool.
We got the house,
But
guys.
she's funny.
Yeah, she's funny.
What else can you ask for in a wife,
I agree.
Well, my wife is everything you think of, but she's not funny. What a privilege that is, bro.
What can you do?
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
That was great.